the Elkhart County Prosecutor's Office chose DocuWare as our document management system solution. Between 2008 and into 2009, we began scanning documents for over 12,000 active cases. Many of our cases had in excess of 100 documents per case. We created workflows. Our workflows included the mail, which is one of the critical pieces because we didn't want people touching paper. So all of our mail was scanned in and then placed into the in-baskets of the people who needed to work that material. We also created a system for the courtroom where the prosecuting attorneys who went to court on those cases could have access to the DocuWare cases without having to take all the files with them. This gave them a lot of information at their fingertips without having to carry so many files and have to search through many documents manually. Comparing it to like a filing cabinet that has all your documents in it, typically if they're older documents, if you pull something out, it doesn't always get put back in the right place, where when you have it stored in DocuWare, it never leaves the right place to start with, so you always have access and you can find it very quickly. We also have a delegation portion of our workflow that includes how we delegate tasks to the various people within the office. An attorney in the courtroom, for instance, could delegate a task to someone back at the office, and potentially it could be done by the time he came back from the court. And so it gives us some better time frames on accomplishing tasks. It makes our operations much smoother and much less time consuming in terms of having people touching the actual documents. Anyone who walks into our office with a document that they would like to put in their file, it can be scanned at our front desk operation and sent right into the DocuWare system for access to the users of the system. The legal assistant who handles that particular workflow can then access the documents without ever touching paper again. And I think that's one of the things that's critical. We only have 2 people in our office today that actually touch paper. The rest of the people are working primarily off of their computers. We've also have some other uses with DocuWare. We've created what we call a ledger summary. What that does is all the activity on the case at any time. Someone can go into a case, make a note, put actions that have taken place, things that have been approved, whatever information about the case that could help. And it's sorted then by date. So if there's questions about a case, that's the first place you go, and you have a summary then of what has occurred on the case. And that gives us then a quick way to access the information there again without having to go to a hard file. When we started our office, we probably had about 10 million in collections. And in 2012, when we completed our DocuWare, and we had 23 million in collections. And we attributed a great deal of that to the DocuWare process. And the reasons that we think that DocuWare has such a large impact is because they're not having to touch the paper. They're able to process more cases more quickly. And so if you're able to then move the cases more quickly, to constantly be looking back at cases that haven't had any activity in a number of years to see if there's anything that changes, you can do those things in a pretty quick process. Plus you can have DocuWare set up to bring those cases forward on a periodic basis so that you can review them and determine whether it's appropriate to have a further review of that particular case. So as we've gone through DocuWare, we feel like it has been very successful in our child support area, and that has allowed us to have the growth we wanted, and most importantly, it has allowed us to serve the program participants so that they receive the child support that they need. One of the things we've also done with DocuWare is we've created systems beyond just child support. We've developed different, what we are calling modules or systems. We have an HR system where we can scan all the files for employees, so we have active employees, inactive employees. So when someone calls in and needs information, we have the information at our fingertips because we can just, at our desk, go into the files and get the information that is needed to answer those types of questions. Because HR is very confidential, DocuWare can set up our system so that it limits by username who can actually access those files, and then what kind of access they're allowed to have. Can they store a document? Can they change a document? Can they delete a document? We feel like we were on the front edge of developing a system It took a lot of effort and a lot of perseverance to get through, but we know that there's going to be a mandate down the road for digital, especially in the 4D area. And so we felt we wanted to, since we're a larger county, we wanted to move forward and get that taken care of. Some of the projects that we're working on right now with IRA include the intelligent indexing that we've seen demonstrated, and we hope to be one of the first counties to be able to move forward with that. And talking about that, one of the things that we look at with what we've created here in Elkhart County, we've talked with the people at IRA and DocuWare, and we feel very strongly that the information that we have learned and the things we've set in place are things they can share with other counties throughout the state and throughout the nation, as we all know that there are child support offices nationwide. But to be able to share that information is an important part of what we want to do, because it's important that every child in America be able to get the child support and it happens on a timely basis. As we look into the future, we also look at ways that we can continue to develop DocuWare, not just in child support, but office-wide, ways that we can make the process work for us. But I would wish you all well as you look at DocuWare and think about all the things that it can do to help your office. And I would also welcome you as visitors to our office if you would like to see DocuWare as we have it set up here. And thank you for this time today.
Preview.